AK, can you hear me?
Sir.
Yes, you are
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
audible, sir.
You are audible.
Professor AK Singh Rana, Director, RML Hospital, New Delhi. Dean Faculty of Medicine, Professor Rakesh Bhargav. Professor Mohammad Shamim of the Department of Tuberculosis and Chest and the convener of this program. And the other resource persons. Dr. Arif Mustaqim, Dr. Rushi, Dr. Abdul Rahman Khan, Dr. Muhammad Aftab, and all the distinguished participants. Good evening and Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Now, this COVID pandemic is taking a toll on all of us, whether we are in the medical profession or we are part of the general population. Because when we thought that the first wave is over, nobody anticipated that the second wave will be of such severity and it is going to be so deadly. And now when the cases of the second wave, they are decreasing, we are finding that another villain has entered the arena. And that villain is the black fungus. So the battle or the war against the COVID-19 pandemic is going to be long. And we don't know what are the exact reasons why this black fungus is occurring, whether it is due to the indiscriminate use of steroids or other comorbid conditions like diabetes or some other reasons, or because of the viral load, the immunity has come down. So I think further studies are required in all these things. Now, post-COVID complications, they are of course very important, as all of us are observing. And Dr. Rana A.K. Singh Saab must have also observed, and other physicians, that so many patients are dying due to post-COVID complications. They are testing COVID negative. And my own brother, he died due to COVID. He was 75 years of age. He had he was immunized. He was fully immunized. And he had a mild COVID infection. Because on this CT score of this RT-PCR, it was 31. So it was mild. This viremia was mild. On a CT scan also, his score was 8/25 only. So he was having mild COVID and he became negative after 3-4 days. But because of the drugs he was taking, low molecular weight heparin or whatever the reason, he developed massive brain hemorrhage. And because of that, he suffered the mortality. So this is, though everything started with COVID, but the actual cause of death was not COVID. It was brain hemorrhage. And as the other resource persons, they will also, I think, throw light on this. The post-COVID complications, they are really very serious. And we did not observe these post-COVID complications the first wave. Some complications we observed. But in the second wave, we are observing these complications on a very large scale. Because I know in the first wave, no teacher in this university had died. Not a single teacher had died. In the second wave, so many teachers, they have died, and retired teachers, they have died. And so many of the other people in the in this area, they are having post-COVID complications. We had never seen such a thing in the first wave. So of course, what I am saying is not on the statistical basis. This is only anecdotal, what I am observing. And whatever I am listening and whatever I am hearing from the physicians who are treating the COVID patients like Professor Mohammad Shamim and the other Professor Rakesh Bhargav and all the other physicians who are treating these COVID patients. Now, psychology, I think, is very important. It is very easy to say to the patient, you should be positive, or to tell anybody to say you should be positive and you should be brave. But actually, it is an individual's personality which if he is going to decide how he is going to take this. Because some people, they are very nervous, they are very anxious. So it is not very easy for them to cope with all these things. So it is the inherent personality of the person, I think, which will be very important. How he is going to do this psychologically. Because I think in this webinar, the psychological aspect is also there. Because there is Dr. Rushi, she is from the psychology, clinical psychology center of excellence, RML Hospital. And so I think she'll throw more light on this. But I think it is very important to be positive. And to how a person is going to be there, I don't know. Because I think it is very difficult. And I said, same thing I'm repeating, it depends upon the individual personality of the person. We cannot generalize the things. Every individual has to be treated individually. And we cannot make sweeping comments that this is going to happen or that is going to happen. And there may not be something equally important for everybody. So you have to treat an individual patient as per the guidelines. I think Dr. Rana will throw more light on this, and the other persons, Dr. Rushi will also throw more light on this. So I wish this webinar all the best, and I'm sure that the deliberations, especially the psychological aspects, they will also benefit all of us. Thank you so much, and I congratulate the organizers and thank them for inviting me and allowing me to be part of the occasion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I invite Professor Rana Anil Kumar Singh. He is MBBS and MS General Surgeon. He is Director and Medical Superintendent, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Medical Sciences and Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, New Delhi. He is former Clinical Research Fellow from, from Sydney, Australia. He also got short-term trainings from AIMS New Delhi and from Australia again. He is also the past president, former secretary, and joint secretary, treasurer, editorial secretary of Association of Surgeons of India, Delhi State Chapter. I invite you, sir, to speak few words and your experience in this second wave of COVID. Please.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Aligarh Muslim University, Professor Tariq Mansoor, sir, Dean Faculty of Medicine, Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, Aligarh Muslim University, Professor Rakesh Bhargava, sir, Professor Sameem, other dignitaries, faculty members, and the delegates who are attached on this visual platform. To begin with, I must first thank the organizers and the faculty of Aligarh Muslim University, that medical college, and my own department, that clinical psychology department, which Dr. Rusi heads, for organizing this webinar in such a difficult time. I mean, like this is the time when literally the second wave of COVID has come like a nuclear holocaust. So to thinking about, organizing this academic program is itself an achievement, I must say that. And then secondly, to having me in the company of this august gathering or distinguished people, I'm profusely thankful to both the department from the AMU as well as my own department. Few things Vice Chancellor sir had just said, I would try to elaborate on that. Few things. Sir, I'm basically a kidney transplant surgeon. I must, convey all of you. All kidney transplant surgeons, all kidney transplant recipients, they are kept on lifetime immunosuppressant drugs to avoid rejection. If they are not immunosuppressed, the organ will be killed by the recipient's body because of the immunity. So they are kept on lifetime immunosuppressant drug. And the backbone of that immunosuppression is steroid. I also must convey to the August gathering then roughly 5 decades from the time kidney transplant was started, these recipients used to get only one drug, that was steroid for immunosuppression. Steroid is a profound immunosuppressant, and it's a very serious medicine. It has got serious side effects, I'm telling you. So on the front of kidney transplant recipients, we were seeing the patients of mucormycosis. I mean, and since long, we are seeing the patients of mucormycosis because these patients are immunosuppressed, and that because of the immunosuppression, these fungus, they invade their systemic circulation. I mean, fungal infection of the superficial tissue is very common. It's a very ordinary disease. It affects the moist areas of the body. But systemic infection by fungus does not occur unless the patient is immunosuppressed. It occurs in very few settings. One is the immunosuppression. Second, the patient is on long-term ICU care where they get a lot of antibiotics, and whole of the practically bacterial flora or commensals of their body is killed by the antibiotics. So this is the second setting in which we get systemic infection by the fungus. So for us, it's a old disease. I also must say that it's a difficult disease to treat. There is no doubt about that. And the backbone of the treatment of the systemic fungal infection is amphotericin B. There are other drugs also, but they are not as effective. And once these fungi, they colonize an organ, they kill the organ in no time. So surgery also is required if it has colonized or if it is concentrated into organ. Like for our cases, kidney transplant patients, once the graft gets infected with the mucormycosis, not only we put them on systemic amphotericin B, we remove the graft, even if it is, like functioning, because in an attempt to save the graft, killing the patient is not a very bright idea. So in my opinion, probably the most important reason of mucormycosis in this group of patients is two. A, they are getting large dose steroids. So that immunosuppression. And second, any serious illness in the body, I mean, it affects the immunity. So COVID is a very serious illness. So literally on immunity, there are two, issues. One is the steroid and second is the disease itself. And they are immunosuppressed, and that is why we are getting these infections. So we should be reassured. It's a difficult disease to treat, but it is not an impossible disease to treat. We have got drugs. We can offer surgery to the patients. And now a little bit more on the front of psychological support to these patients of who are suffering from COVID. Everybody is petrified in the world we are talking about. We are no exceptions, and so are the patients who are suffering from COVID. So everybody is under scare. Everybody has got mortal fear. Once somebody tests COVID positive, the person will have mortal fear. Especially if you look at the patients who are in ICU. See, steroid, as I said, there is a laundry list of complications of the steroid. One is steroid-induced psychosis. That's a known phenomenon. Second is ICU-induced psychosis. So emotionally, these patients, especially those who are on high-dose steroids and who are ICU, is quite understandable. So they certainly require, I mean, professional, support, their psychological support from professional people. Not just general knowledge, as sir said, that one should have, like positive mind. Psychiatry is a highly specialized specialty. It requires qualification, experience, and everything. And I must confess in front of the August gathering, good work done by Dr. Rusi and her team. Daily, so, Dr. Rusi, I must thank you. You may not be knowing that I am so much aware, but being a medical superintendent, you will have to know have suffered our losses. In the first wave, I lost only hepatologist of my hospital, the only hepatologist which I had, Professor Srimant Sahu. He was professor of medicine. So this disease has literally, bombarded the whole world. I mean, the nuclear bombardment had happened only on 2 cities, and that too was done sequentially. The whole world has been bombarded by this disease. In first wave, probably we did not get as much casualties, but this time it has practically so many deaths has happened. So many doctors in the city of Delhi has lost their life, very prominent figures. But having said that, being a medical professional, we do not have choice to run away from the scenario. We have to be strong enough. We have to have that commitment. We have to have that jazba that the people who are suffering from this disease, nobody else can treat and cure them except us. So we will have to hold the ground. We are carrying risk on all of us, but then we do not have option not to work, not to act. So once again, I thank all the panelists, I thank all the organizations, all the organizers, I'm sorry,